I've had very strong interactions with them, different types of them. Mostly they're very shy. None of them came with gums. I just have an intention, this white flower I want to smash it up. Lots of chemistry will happen there because it knows I'm going to do it. When I lived in the jungles, I felt the plants like, literally embracing and exploring me. So why won't we kill the aliens? Why won't you do that to me? As I was saying yesterday, 123 death threats I have. They're not following up, fortunately, inefficient idiots.
Are you an alien by any chance?
I have a reputation of being very logically correct. I don't want to sit in a university and lose that reputation.
Those beings that you cannot see, there are some which we call as Bhuta Preta category. There are other beings that we call as Yakshas.
Switching gears here a little bit, since we're talking about space and there were aliens in our conversation here, I couldn't help but…
Somebody sent you all that…
No, this is not… I cannot help but ask. So last year, Sadhguru, I had an opportunity to go to Kailash and Manasarovar, and there have been several stories and mysteries surrounding, Manasarovar and maybe aliens. So actually, this is a question to both of you. So Sadhguru, do you believe, from your experience, there is intelligent life out there in the universe, or even maybe on Earth? And if it is, or if it is not, what does that mean for us humans? Like, I feel like it's a very profound realization. And then for Sunny, you have looked out into the cupola, looking down into the cosmos and…
Is anybody else running with you on the marathon?
Nobody saw it, there's no record of it, but I did do it.
No, was some other guy running who's the alien guy?
Yeah, of course, yes, it was a race.
Yeah, and what do you also think about possibility of intelligent life? I would love to hear your thoughts, both of your thoughts on that.
He's been there?
I mentioned real quickly from looking out into the universe, the billions of stars that are there, and it seems to me very arrogant for us as a species to think that we are the only ones out there. There's something else out there. It might not be every chemical combination that we have here to form a human being, might not have the same gravity, but how could it not be something else out there? So I think for sure there's something else out there. We have an obligation to represent our species, and I hope we can do that peacefully, and setting potentially the rules of engagement in our little yard as we go to explore further in the universe. So I absolutely think there's probably something else out there.
Sadhguru. I want to ask this. Are you an alien by any chance? Because you seem to know everything about everything in the cosmos.
This happens to me. These days it's changed. Otherwise, when I first came to the United States, when I stand in the immigration line, they used to say, whatever, aliens, what is that? Resident aliens.
Resident aliens.
So I would look around in the line, I was the only one who fits the description. So I've been through that.
Yes.
That people thought I'm an alien, it was written there on the board, I'm a resident alien.
Well, we're happy to have you here on Earth as our resident alien.
Well, I have a reputation of being very logically correct. I don't want to sit in a university and lose that reputation. Because right now human thought process is such, you have to take them from 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8. This is the only way. If you say, do the calculus and say it is trillion, people will say you're nuts. And to communicate what I'm communicating, which is just on the borderline, very important, people see that I'm well rooted in logic, I'm more logical than them. That I'm more solidly rooted in logic than anybody else that is around me, generally. Whether it doesn't matter, they're doctors, scientists, engineers, I'm more logical than them. Because generally so-called spiritual people have this reputation that they got air in their head and generally hot. Suddenly they will talk about this and that for which there's no basis. So I don't want to go into that realm. But in my experience of life, I've experienced other kinds of life. I don't want to call them aliens because they belong to this universe. Why do you call them aliens? They belong here. Everything you keep discriminating against everything. Why? Someone came from India, he has to stand in a line where it says he's an alien. Someone else came from another galaxy, he has to stand in a line where it says alien. Not necessary. So I won't call them aliens, there is life. I've had very strong interactions with them, different types of them. Mostly they're very shy. None of them came with gums. They're just there. If you show any little, they're gone. That's how it's been. In some places they've been more inquisitive, wanting to explore something, where we set up certain experiments with people who are in certain condition and things happen. There are videos of that, which we put it out and which caused a lot of trouble for us. Because people want to resist anything that is new. And at the same time, do I know something about them? No. Just feeling that life, making conjecture in my head. But I know it could be all absolutely wrong because we are thinking from our experience of life, our idea of what is life. We are able to accept microscopic bacteria and virus as life only now. We are able to accept plant as life only recently. They can hear sounds, they can respond to sounds, they understand what our intent is. If you have an intention of plucking this thing right now, lot of chemical changes will happen there because, no, I didn't do anything, I just have an intention, this white flower I want to smash it up. Lots of chemistry will happen there because it knows I'm going to do it. Smart or no? Smarter than you or no?
Yes.
For their life, they're very smart because they're sedentary in nature. They can't go by themselves. All animals, animal life is far dumber than plant life. Because animal life has legs. If danger comes, you will run. Fight or flight, you will do. Plant life is rooted and sedentary, can't go anywhere. So its sensitivity is very profound and fantastic. When I lived in the jungles, I felt the plants like, literally embracing and exploring me.
Wow.
Like that, because they are so sensitive and so intelligent, because they develop these things over a period of time, because they can't run from me or from anybody for that matter, because they're rooted. They're super intelligent and super sensitive. But it's taken us millennia to just recognize they're alive. Many sages, mystics, yogis always said, they're life, This is why we bow down to tree means we bow down. In East, always. Tree means always worship worthy, because it's far more sensitive than me. Anything that's more intelligent than me, more sensitive than me, a larger possibility than me, this is human nature, you will bow down. Generally, well, people have been taught there is only one God up there, only to Him you must bow down. Well, that's their problem. But anything which is more intelligent than you, more competent than you, more sensitive than you, has a bigger possibility than you, should you bow down or not? Must have that humility. So, almost everything in the universe, a single atom has more potency than you or no? As a person, should you bow down or no? So, this whole thing about this is this is our territory. United States and Mexico, okay? This is our territory, so you cross, we'll shoot. Don't take this further into space. If you cross, we will shoot. They must come. They must set up a university here. What do you think? Hello? Huh? A alien university, should they set up or no?
Yeah.
We must learn their ways. Because we couldn't go there. If they came, definitely they're smarter than us, we should bow down or shoot.
Absolutely.
We are barely going into our own solar system, we're struggling still, all right? But they came from somewhere that we don't know where. Should we bow down or no?
Yeah.
Because they're much smarter than us, more intelligent than us, everything. We must allow them to set up a university. But they may teach people something which is not good for your country, not good for your identity, not good for your own selfish modes. It may not be good. Whenever people do something which is beyond the established boundary of what you think is the right thing, it is… if it's in a religious sphere, it's called blasphemy. For those things, well, at the least, you get ridiculed, at the worst, you get crucified. For somebody just expressing their opinion about the shape of the planet, they got killed, isn't it? Hello? So why won't we kill the aliens? Why won't you do that to me? As I was saying yesterday, 123 death threats I have. They're not following up, fortunately, inefficient idiots. All right? But they may get efficient some point. Because I'm vulnerable, I'm all over the place, no security around me, nothing. So, I'm saying, just for crossing one boundary, this has happened to people throughout the human history, isn't it? Why? You have an established, fixed memory thing. If I go over that, now suddenly you are in space, a different space. That space seems dangerous. But anything not known to us, see, always tribes and communities have been like this. If a stranger came, first thing you shoot, then find out who is he. Yes or no? This is how it's been, the tribes and various communities around the world, this is how it's been. Only it's been much better in the East than in the West, where people have always welcomed other kinds of people that came. We were excited. You know, recently our school made a trip to this, I could not go there. I knew about it, but I couldn't make it. There is a tribe of Africans who came some 300 years ago to northern Karnataka, coastal Karnataka. They have lived right there without mixing up with the local population. They just maintain their genetics and their whole culture just like that. 300 years, full-on African people, okay? The children were so excited going there and meeting them, they're speaking fluent Kannada, but they kept their genetic integrity and stayed there as a tribe. I'm saying if somebody comes from somewhere If they are very different, we must be excited. Hello? We must be excited and welcoming. No, we have learned to shoot everything that we can't identify as myself. So this must change if we want to explore other aspects, otherwise it'll go into ridicule or it'll go into worse things.
In other cultures, all of them are dismissed as angels. But here, different quality beings have been identified as different types. You call for a particular being for a particular kind of benefit, so that you have an advantage of achieving things much more than you would do by your normal strength and capabilities. In this tradition, we have various kinds of beings. They are all particularly identified according to their quality. We have humans, and of course the animal nature and all those things that you can see in around you. Those beings that you cannot see, there are some which we call as Bhuta Preta category. There are other beings that we call as Yakshas. There are other kinds of beings that we call as Gandharvas. And there are Devas. So based on this, there are tree gods, there are monkey gods, there are elephant gods, there is fruit god, there is vegetable god, there is flower god. For everything there is a god. Is this all figment of imagination? No, it is… Everything is happening because of certain forces. They identified these forces and personified them and created a method as to how to find access to them. So these yajnas were processes through which you can find access to certain forces in the existence so that you have an advantage of achieving things much more than you would do by your normal strength and capabilities. The word yajna has been translated as sacrifice. So the English word sacrifice you would always understand as giving up something for something else, or giving up something for nothing. That's a sacrifice, okay? Giving up something for something else is commerce. Giving up something for nothing is sacrifice. So yajna need not necessarily mean a sacrifice. Probably yajna is a combination of an offering, an oblation, and a sacrifice. It's a mixture of all these three things. A ritual through which you can please certain forces in the existence. In other cultures, generally they have not been properly identified and classified. All of them are dismissed as angels. But here, different quality beings have been identified as different types, and accordingly you call for a particular being for a particular kind of benefit. There is a whole process and science behind it. Even today, people are using these yagas and yajnas. Generally, for a lot of them it may not work because it's not being properly conducted the way it should be. But for many people it does work. There are many people who are hugely benefited by these things. People do achieve what they want to do in the material world by using yagas and yajnas in a certain way. Even though it doesn't matter how educated they are and how much liberation they talk about, even today, 95% of the Indians, if they want to enter a new home, they will do yagas and yajnas before they get in. Only here at Isha we don't do anything because we are a different breed. If you are in a certain level of consciousness and energy, everything that you do is a yajna. You don't have to do a separate ritual. The very way you live is a yajna. So yajnas are of different kinds. Yajna means a certain means to access a dimension which is right now not in your access. One is a ritualistic yajna, that you perform something, an expert in the field comes and does something for you through which you receive some benefit, or you have made your very life process into your yajna. Now you sit in the morning and you're doing your Shakti Chalana Kriya or your Shambhavi Mahamudra. This is an internal yajna. Without that sense of offering, you will never know the essence of that practice. If you make this a process, it's a very powerful yajna through which things happen in the world, not just for yourself, things will happen around you beautifully. We have been saying constantly, if 1% of the world can become meditative, the remaining 99% will just pass very easily. Because if 1% of the world really begins to function, every moment of their life, their very life process is a yajna, if they become like this, the 99% will reap the benefit without doing anything about it. One person plants a mango tree, 100 people can eat it. One person cannot eat what comes out of one tree. It takes 100 people to eat it. So similarly, if you have made your life process itself into a yajna, if you have made your life process itself into an offering, then thousands of people can eat out of it. You would see simple women, just they made their life into total sacrifice for people who live around them in their families. They just cook, they serve, they never thought about themselves. What about me never came to them. You see, they are sage-like by themselves. My mother was a living example like this. She was educated enough, but her whole life was just serving her husband and children, that's all. Never we heard her telling us, "I love you," but such a question never arose. Whether she loves me or not never arose in our minds. Because the very way she lives is in complete sacrifice for everybody around us. And nobody ever uttered anything about it, but in many ways, she was a goddess by herself. Everybody treated her as such. If she has to eat her morning breakfast, everybody in the family would have eaten. Then she will take a part of her breakfast and go to the backyard. She will look for ant hills, nest of ants, and she will feed all the ants first, and then only she will eat. In today's mind, people may think, feeding ants, what nonsense. Spray insecticide, isn't it? If it came into the house, if it bit her children, she also did that. But somewhere in her mind, she felt the ants have as much right to live on this planet as she had. And just that little offering, everything is a sacrifice, everything is a yajna.